All right, hello, this is Dan. This is the new edition of the Snowflake Sports Podcast. I am joined by my good friend Chris Amato, who's a hardcore Raiders fan. And how you doing, Chris?
For way too long. Yeah, it's for a long, long time.
Yeah.
It's been a rough ride.
Yeah, but if you've been under the rock over the past couple months, they are on Hard Knocks, and you could watch them on full display, which has been pretty good. I think it's been pretty entertaining. This is the first Hard Knocks I've watched outside of just watching on Twitter.
Yeah, I've never cared about it.
Yeah.
The Brown always occupies a certain the same space to me is do you remember the Ultimate Fighter, which was I think way more popular at its peak than Hard Knocks ever was.
Oh yeah.
But it's just this thing I want to see I don't like a reality show aspect of sports usually because to me it already is that. If you're watching something that's unscripted, and also it robs you, I think, of the ability to create your own kind of narrative from what you're seeing. I think that's part of the fun is you can look at what's happening and just kind of be this is a storyline that's going on that I care about. And these shows kind of shoebox you into, but because it's my team, it's interesting. I just like to see what they're like. It's cool to see. I just also like seeing the just more Raiders shit on TV. That's really all it really is.
All Raiders content all the time.
Yeah. It's just cool to. I mean, also that's the Gruden aspect. Honestly, I might not even consider it appointment viewing if it was still someone Dennis Allen, Jack Del Rio. I think would be pretty good.
Yeah, he'd be fun.
But just the absolute just wet blankets, these chuds that they have brought in that just really had no personality, no leadership.
Yeah. Was it the Hunter Renfro or whatever his name is?
So I think it's the added level of excitement is they have this guy back who, and honestly, even though I love him, he was the coach, when I really, the only time in my life that they were good throughout my fanhood.
Yeah.
But we also, I think, kind of overstate the actual longevity and the dominance of that period. It was really only 3 years, two pretty good years under, very good years under Gruden. 2000, 2001 until it was, the last game was that Tuck Rule game that, has been kind of recapped over and over again for the last 15 years.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of this weird aspect to it where I think Raiders fans themselves have kind of created this own revised narrative of the past of the team because everything else after that was so bad that we treat this really kind of a somewhat minor period in their history overall as this recent golden age, and Gruden as this architect of it. Which I mean, he should get credit because he turned a team of kind of 500
to a Super Bowl
players
team.
But I think really a lot of that too was just the West Coast offense was still, if you had the right weapons and you had guys like Tim Brown and Jerry Rice, you were going to be able to run it effectively because Jerry Rice specifically came up in that offense. So, I think Gruden still has a lot to prove, and I hope he's someone who still thinks that way. It seems like it on Hard Knocks, at least. So,
yeah, I don't know. So there's some quotes where he comes out where he just wants to go back to the 90s and just play
well, that was at first.
Yeah.
And I don't. Again, the other thing with him is everything's always you're not sure what's real.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know what he's Is he joking or not?
Is this a real game plan?
Even on the show, you can see a lot of that. His conversation with Jonathan Abrams, he was definitely being very serious about.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But it came off in such a almost weird semi. I mean, maybe it was a way to diffuse awkwardness.
Yeah.
Because what Abrams said, it's you can't cut me. He's a first rounder, so I think he's trying not to be super hardcore on him because it's he doesn't have a lot of leverage.
Yeah.
You really can't cut a first. You just don't cut a first rounder that early unless they're been truly belligerent or committing a crime, something like that. So. You're not really sure what kind of relationship he has. It still seems a little cloudy to me, honestly. It seems cloudy to me what his level of genuine connection is with the team.
Yeah.
He seems to get along with Carr very well. I think that's genuine.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't really have many options though with Mike Glennon and Nathan Peterman, and it's just so hard to get a quarterback in a free agency class unless they go 3-13 again. or 4
I
and 12.
think it's shown too, like how I think Carr is not like there was like after that 2016 season, they go 12-4. What I consider at the time and still now especially was a big turning point move was when they got rid of offensive coordinator Bill Musgrave, and they replaced him with the QB coach Todd Downing. And the rumors at the time, I'm not sure how much this was confirmed, were that Carr, had it out for Musgrave somehow. Like they didn't always click, even though they had a crazy, awesome offensive season. No one stepped in to say no, we're keeping him here, and you're going to learn to make it work. So they just promoted the guy that seemed like was his buddy, the younger Todd Downing.
Yeah.
Early 30s, and then they kind of started a nosedive ever since over the last couple of years. So I think his relationship with Gruden and what it looks like on camera, unless they're both very good actors, is that he is someone who can get along with coaches and he can adjust. So I think maybe he's matured a little bit, or maybe none of that was ever true in the first place. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just the weapons on his team now, or on this team too. Because if you're throwing to Antonio Brown, like that Derek Carr could just throw it deep, and Antonio Brown can get it, or you just do one of those like slants, and then he just takes off.
Yeah, you're hoping that there's just less tension on him this year.
Yeah, exactly.
He's been somewhat injury prone. Even when they were good, he missed 2-3 starts, 2.5 games, I think it was.
Well, I felt like the 2016 season, like they were like good enough to maybe play the Pats if like Derek Carr doesn't get hurt.
They could have been to the AFC title game for sure, because it was a very weird AFC, because in some places it was like kind of weak, like there's a lot of volatility that year.
Yeah.
But then also, it felt like anyone who wasn't the Patriots, it was like a toss-up. Like it could be they could be up against anybody.
Yeah.
So that's what was really frustrating about it, was it just felt almost as wide open as it's been since the last time they were good. What was frustrating for them was that they go 12-4, and because of the way the Chiefs played that year, how tough their division was, they didn't even get a first-round bye. Even though they were 12-4, but they didn't even get a home game. They had to be the wild card because of how tough their division was at 12-4.
Yeah.
So it was a tough road, and it's frustrating, and you hope that the O-line being hurt now too is kind of a big problem.
Yeah. But they got Richie Incognito now, so he can bring the pain.
He suspended 2 games because he's a psycho.
Yeah. He looks fine on Hard Knocks though. He seems okay.
He's that was always his reputation, was that he's one of the guys, right? He's charismatic. People like him. That's why he's always managed to find a place, because he's very talented and everybody seems to like him. But he has some, he's had some severe issues, in the way he's treated teammates, even without those, and that's not even really the problem. The way he's treated teammates in the past, the stories that have come out about him. I really don't think that he's someone that should be on the team. It's really frustrating that they signed him. But I think, with the way Gabe Jackson's going to be out till probably October at least, he's someone that can definitely use. So it's kind of hard to complain too much. Yeah.
It's kind of unfortunate, but like in the NFL, these people just keep getting signed. They don't really think. But like you're right. Like
they've mostly been good about it in recent years. Like I know it's always been their reputation, but I think there's been more of a top-down policy with the Raiders, at least, to not really sign brutal criminals.
Yeah, not like the Cowboys or anything. Or,
the Cowboys do what everyone always used to accuse the Raiders of doing. Like that's how they're still running their team.
Yeah. So with Antonio Brown, like, are you just mad about the whole like cryptotherapy footwear?
I will never be mad about it until he misses a game. I'm not mad about any of this until he misses a game, because I think if he misses that Week 1 Broncos game, they're going to start 0-2, because then they'll probably lose the Chiefs next week, whether they have him or not, even though it's at home. And then you have the Vikings, you have the Bears, you have the Colts as well, either maybe them and the Bears are right after each other. So
that's rough.
You're staring down those are very 5 losers. If you lose the Broncos, you could potentially be 0-5. Those are teams that the Raiders could very much easily lose to. So that's when I'll be mad, is when he misses a single snap because of any of this.
Yeah. But not right now. You don't care about training camp or just integrating with the team. I care
about it, especially because. So as of the time of recording this, just yesterday, and again, what the frustrating thing with this is, this has changed 3 times since since when you first asked me to come on here. It was like a week ago. Like, it's gone from like being in turmoil to being fixed again, seemingly for a couple of days. And now you have Mike Mayock, who is, he's the general manager. It's not Gruden.
Yeah.
Coming out and saying like, you're in or you're out, you're all in or you're all out, or something like that. And then you never see that publicly, honestly. Like, it is so rare. The only time you see call-outs like that are like, sometimes a coach will just lay into a rookie during a press conference during a game, like after a game, or in one of these training camps when they're really trying to light a fire under somebody. So that is, that's very, very concerning, because you have to think that they kept it under wraps for so long now that this kind of bubbled to the surface. But now even today, they say he's back at practice, but what I think a lot of the local Raiders reporters pointed out that wasn't really in the national report, I think it was from Adam Schefter, was that there wasn't actually really even a practice today. It was a walkthrough. So you're still not even getting him running routes, communicating with Derek Carr, elevating the other receivers and defenders around him. You're not getting any of that benefit. So now you had all of training camp, and he practiced for like 1.5 or 2 full days of the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So that is, that's frustrating.
Well, the problem is his feet. So like, if he can't run a route or just be able to run that fast,
it's not his feet anymore. I mean, he's been running routes, and they've been saying openly, clearly now, though, for really for the last few days now, that the helmet is the issue.
Oh, really?
Because he came back, like he came back and actually like ran some sleep, and before the last preseason game against the Cardinals, he was out there and warming up with the team and running routes, catching passes. He was a full participant in all the pregame activities, and he was never, they said when they first got him that he's never playing a snap in the preseason this year.
Okay.
So even if none of this was going on. So the fact that he was fully practicing there seemed to, at least kind of stuff this down for a little while.
Yeah.
But, that's why it is frustrating to, see that Mike Mayock has to come out and say something like that.
Yeah. I mean, he kind of has to, though. This is just stupid. Just wear another helmet. Like, I know you might be superstitious or just like,
there's just nothing else they can do.
Yeah, you filed your grievance, you lost, so like, you just gotta succumb to the NFL.
It's it's just a part of, that's part of the package, I guess. It's almost concerning, really. I mean, it is concerning, actually, that this hasn't been a thing with him for like up until like maybe a year or 2 ago. Like, people are like, typical AB, and it's like, how long has AB really been like this?
He was a bad teamate last year. I feel like that was the first time that came up.
That was it, right? Like, he's always been kind of, like a vibrant personality. Like, he's always had interesting haircuts, cool touchdown dances. Goes on commercials. He's a personality. He's been on game shows, and everyone knew that about him. But like, this whole like weird like negative voodoo around him now, like, is very, very new, and it makes you wonder if is he hurt? Is there something wrong with, what I mean? Like,
could be
with his head. He's been hurt. He's been concussed.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I think his teammate Vontaze Burfict who concussed him one time, wasn't it? I mean, he drilled him right in the head.
Yeah, that was that whole fight or whatever when they were.
Yeah. He absolutely. His head looked like it could have fell off. It was a car accident.
Yeah. I mean, it could be. It also could be maybe like Ben Roethlisberger is just a shitty teammate, and it just created this weird tension between the two. And then once he left, now he's just shitting on the rest of the Steelers. I'm sure that was
part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. I'm not someone who's going to side with
Ben Roethlisberger.
who has done the things he's allegedly done.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, I'm sure that was a factor in it too. But now, when you see this with this team, with the Raiders expanded to this extent, where they have to publicly say something about it, where they're not even pretending to side with them anymore.
Yeah.
Because what he did say too was that they exhausted all avenues of support. So they supported him through the appeal process. They backed him up in the media. They all said great things about him, Gruden and Mayock and all the teammates. And then you go and you leave again over the thing that we already settled.
Yeah.
It's it sucks to see a lot. It shows that it wasn't just something going on with the Steelers. Like, it was a powder keg full of individuals who were all seemingly had their own flaws.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting when you bring up the concussion. Like, maybe he's just not right in the head, kind of thing. Like, that's totally a plausible.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm not sure what it would be, and I don't want to. You don't want to accuse someone of that or say something like that.
Yeah.
But it is a thing that people are openly speculating, so it's not like something I just made up right now. Like, there's speculation from reporters at all national levels and stuff.
Yeah.
That this could be something that we should be worrying about. But I feel like they would find that, like, and I'm not going to say that the NFL is super cares a whole lot about concussion still, but like, I feel like they could tell if there's some lingering CTE. I feel like they'd be like, hey man, like, there's some stuff going on still. Maybe not though. Maybe I'm overstating how far.
I think they could tell, and then they just don't want to go through with it. They're just he's Antonio Brown. He's a top 3 wide receiver.
One of the things that actually got buried that turned out to be, actually I feel like much more important when the original report about him, leaving the team over a week ago. It was Michael Silver, I think, who first reported this, and he also said how there's reports he's been not falling asleep, but like not really paying attention, and like during their little meetings and stuff, going on his phone. They can see that he's even posted like during the meetings.
Oh damn!
Just AB shit,
yeah.
Just
AB always at work.
Yeah, oh god.
Yeah.
And like that was stuff like that was in the report as well. Which when I first read it, I had a feeling like the retirement stuff was probably overblown.
Yeah.
And I just felt like that was not necessarily the case, but the stuff that was more detailed about what some of his involvement. But then you see him out there though, and it's undeniable that he's has a full grasp of the offense.
Oh yeah.
And that he's fully in. I mean, the guy has one practice and he's already completely dominating everybody out there.
Yeah.
And you saw that like on the show, and so even that, I don't know, it's just too, and it's 2 weeks away, so it feels weird to say, but it's still like too soon. Like until games are happening.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
I
really,
expect them to produce. To be honest, though, if you do want, I think he's going to play this year.
Oh, definitely.
This doesn't seem like it'll be a very long relationship together. I don't think AB and the Raiders are destined for this kind of big late career second wind.
Yeah. But where does he go then? Is he just gonna?
I don't know. He can go anywhere. But
yeah. If he burns this relationship down to the ground too, like what team?
They could trade him somewhere to anyone that wants him. All kinds of teams would want someone like that.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping. I do think that at least even Randy Moss's first year with the Raiders, he at least produced a little bit in a pretty terrible team.
Yeah.
So as bad as that relationship ended up being, they still were able to squeeze a year out of quality Randy. So I think they can do that with AB, since AB has even after last year, where you have all of these behavioral issues. No one has still ever accused him of being anything less than someone who's there all the time, all the time, and practicing and playing at the top of his game all the time.
Yeah.
So it's hard to put a lot of stock in any of that, and he really has to prove that he is bad now or doesn't care anymore. He deserves the benefit of the doubt.
But I mean, he's not going to be bad though. He'll step on the field and get
that's what
120 yards,
right.
2 touchdowns or something. Yeah.
I think for at least this season, you're going to get the AB that you wanted, barring injury, of course.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get hurt, nothing happens to him, then I think you're going to see a 1,200 yard, double-digit touchdown AB.
Yeah.
I think that alone is only capable of getting them to 500 maybe, kind of like where the Steelers were last year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, their division's so tough. You have the Chiefs and the Chargers. You got to play those teams
Right.
twice.
The Chargers could be a little diminished, too. They have a couple of guys hurt. I think they have one of their corners hurt, and Derwin James is hurt as well.
Oh, okay.
Melvin Gordon.
Oh, yeah.
Will he come back? I don't know. It's him and Zeke it's still wild, but him and Zeke are still holding out.
Yeah.
Jadeveon Clowney is still out there on the trading block. It's very, there's also some like weird little things that could still happen. I mean, Khalil Mack wasn't even traded yet at this point last year.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. A lot of things can happen in that last week where it's just like, but I don't know. I think the whole Le'Veon Bell thing, or however you say his first name,
Le'Veon, yeah.
Le'Veon, yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, almost got it. He held out, and then he got paid by the Jets, so I wonder if one of these, like Zeke or Melvin, are just going to do the same thing.
I think that's why I don't remember, I could be wrong, but I don't remember a time at all, especially recently, where running backs are having like this, star running backs at least, are having like this revolt, right? They're like, they kind of see what Le'Veon did, and they're like, well, eventually, like, you're going to get it. And they're, it's tough because running back is of all of like the flashy positions, maybe in all the sports, probably nothing shittier than being a running back as far as like,
definitely.
As far as like how much money you're going to be able to make. Well, with the combination of damage you endure.
Yeah.
Think of there's no star position in sports that endures that kind of just absolute physical grind.
Well, it's so short too. It's like 4 or 5 years.
The thing is, it's also
like
the way the rookie contracts are set up now too. You get to be like 26, 27, and even though you're still a prime back, you're also still too old all of a sudden to get a long-term lucrative deal.
Yeah.
It's considered stupid, maybe even, I think for the most part rightfully so, to give running backs who are, already a few years into their careers, 5-year deals. Because then, it has some merit, because like who wants 31, 32-year-old expensive running backs? But to me, it's like, you know what, it's, at least with the way, and not that I like the CBAs this way, but there's just not that much guaranteed money typically.
Yeah.
It's really not as harmful to a team to just drop a guy or cut him or, manage the rework salary as it is, in hockey or basketball, which have pretty tight salary cap rules.
Yeah.
Even in baseball with the luxury tax. So, I don't think I think these teams are being, kind of stupid with not trying to keep, especially someone like Zeke, who really Zeke's the whole engine of the Cowboys offense.
Yeah.
Melvin Gordon, when he's not in, Phillip Rivers' passer rating is somewhere in the 70s. So these offenses are completely transformed without these guys in there.
Yeah, definitely. And they just want to get paid, like in their prime, and just get their money.
Yeah, that's the central thing of it, and I think it'll be, maybe one of them will. It sounds like Melvin Gordon is more. I feel like it's quieter on his front. Like I haven't heard like a lot of like shit talk, Whereas with Zeke, I think today or yesterday, it's like, oh, Zeke is pissed because Jerry Jones made some joke about like or like he said Zeke who or something like that in the conversation.
Who that?
Apparently, like Zeke is pissed about that, which he should be. So that's an added little like flair to it. Besides the the fact that they're not at the team. Not only that, he's like in Cabo or something.
Yeah.
Like he's not even like on this continent right now.
Solid, just vacation.
I don't know if Cabo's an island. I have no idea where that is.
I'm pretty sure it's an island. It's definitely not in like the United States or near
he's
Dallas.
very far from here. Yeah.
The Cowboys though are just kind of a mess though. Like that whole Dak thing with like he wants to get paid $40 million a year. Like
they're always built for such small windows. I mean, even more so than most teams. I mean, most teams in pro sports are built for small windows, but at least with at least as long as salary caps are involved. And
it's just I feel like
he's going to be owed like $120 million, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Like money that should go to a guy who's throwing 30 touchdowns a year, 40 touchdowns a year.
Yeah.
Is going for at least 4,000 yards. Just really like big time.
Something like standard. Like a top 10 kind of quarterback.
Yeah, but the thing is though, there's like you said earlier with quarterbacks being so hard to find, is that the top 10 is not really the same anymore because teams are desperate just to have any quarterback, right? Any guy who's just they know is going to be there, not really get in the way too much. So now top 10 money can become top 20 money, top 15 money.
Oh, true.
Because even if your guy is not one of those elite guys, he's still your guy. So you start to see some of these, maybe some people accuse, the Raiders of doing that with Derek Carr, full well knowing that maybe he's not among the best in the league. Maybe he's not. But because he is a guy that can do it once in a while, he's still better than pretty much anyone else they can get.
Yeah.
So I do expect them to sign Dak to that deal. Only just because of the way it's normally worked. Teams are a lot less willing to let Dak go than Zeke, even if Zeke is overall a better player, maybe more of a, just a truly special or generational talent.
Well, he's central to their offense too.
Yes, but the thing, that's just the thing with Dak is because he's a quarterback, even though Zeke is so much better talent-wise than almost pretty much anyone on the team, Dak is just going to be harder to replace.
Yeah,
because even a quarterback of his level is just. You just don't get him. I mean, you think of how many teams that are out there that have seemed like they've gone years or decades without finding a guy even as good as that.
The Bills.
The Bills, right.
AKO.
He's honestly, I looked at his stats, it's similar to what a full year starting Tyrod Taylor would get.
Yeah.
Low,
2,000 yards,
It's, well, actually, I won't say that because he is a step above that because he does have 3,300 yards.
Yeah.
Which isn't awesome in today's league, but it does mean that he's had some 300-yard games once in a while. He's had games where he lights it up.
Well, Tyrod's had I think the better years, 16 and 17, I think it was 3,000 yards passing, which is still not great or good even.
Right, especially when you're getting every single snap all year long.
Yeah, exactly.
He was healthy.
Yeah.
And Tyrod never had a 300-yard game, I don't think, in his career.
Probably not. There were so many games where it would be if he got 200 yards, that was good.
Oh, yeah, everyone acted like he's the guy.
Yeah.
4-year extension.
Exactly. Oh, dude, I was down. Honestly, right now, I would rather have Tyrod Taylor than Josh Allen.
I agree with that. I mean, just because of what we think. Josh Allen is, first of all, I'm not even sure how high his upside is. I understand,
Dak Prescott.
He throws it far. He can obviously, has a lot more athleticism than he's previously displayed. But there is no level of football that he's played at where he's performed at what would be considered a good quarterback's career, right? It's a lot of low 50% throwing, completion percentages. Again, at every level, not just last year at the NFL. It's a lot of very just sporadic play and just it's hard to see why would that change now?
Yeah. Well, also
it's not like he's Kyler Murray coming into an offense that has Larry Fitzgerald on it, right? He's coming into an offense even though it's an older Fitzgerald.
Brown.
He's still someone who can help. He's still someone who can help you learn. Yeah. It's someone who has that team's was he the third receiver on the team? I think Cardinals for the Cardinals, John Brown was
Oh yeah. Well, it was Fitzgerald
he was the third starter. Yeah.
And
they're using him as a feature weapon.
Yeah.
And their passing game. It's very questionable.
Did you see their wide receivers?
They're taking 2 slot guys and turning them into wideouts to start.
Yeah. Well, they had Zay Jones and Robert Foster. Robert Foster is an undrafted rookie, and Zay Jones is a second-round pick that really hasn't panned out as well as he should have.
Right. Things were expected out of him. They thought he was going to be a new weapon for them. He was at least going to be someone who, maybe like a Lee Evans or something. At best. I think that's the potential that a lot of people thought he had. That's what he displayed in college. And then there was what happened to him in the off season where he lit his yard on fire.
Oh, I did not hear that.
Oh no, there was some really meltdown type of shit going on with him. Oh yeah,
I
mean he's fine now. He's practicing. He's healthy.
He's good, but he just he plays his backyard.
He got over it, whatever it was. I think I don't know. I think
was it that Always Sunny where they do the rivalry?
Oh yeah,
he just did that. So it's right in the backyard.
Yeah, no one accepted his challenge.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that with the Bills though, their biggest problem, Josh Allen is not great, but their offensive line is just terrible. So they can't get the ball running. And that's basically their offense. Is just can we pound the ball?
Right. I mean, the Mitch Moore signing was probably the best thing they did all off season.
Yeah, of course.
And it seems like, I read the Bills almost as much as I do with the Raiders. I mean, it seems like he'll be ready to play. I mean, he's been participating in practice. I mean, he's had the recurring, his third or fourth concussion.
I think it's his fourth.
So all of a sudden, it's immediately looking like really questionable to just sign a guy with recurring concussions to a record-breaking deal to be your starting center. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I would do the same thing if I was them, to be honest with you. I mean, he's just that good. The thing is, outside of Deion Dawkins, I don't know who else is around them, unless Cody Ford immediately turns into something.
But that'll be hard to just jump right in.
Mark. If one of the things that your unit needs to be good is relying on an unproven person, because even if he is good, rookie year Cody Ford is not going to be the Cody Ford that he might still turn into.
Yeah, that's true.
So no matter what, you're going to get someone who's not going to dominate, probably, unless he's truly, one of these generational guys who is good forever. They are usually good right off the bat. Someone like Joe Thomas was.
Oh yeah, that's true. But you can kind of develop. I mean, it's just the speed of the game is so hard to adjust.
Right.
To.
The thing is, they need it to happen right now.
Yeah. That's true.
Considering, I don't think he was even their top pick, because Oliver was their top pick.
Yeah, exactly.
So considering that too, this already wasn't someone who was the absolute best of the best.
Yeah.
Even though he probably will be productive. I mean, their O-line's a huge, huge problem.
I feel like he's gonna start.
I think, he's gonna start for sure, because he is, he can produce.
Yeah.
But I think their offense is going to be, substantially worse than what it sounds like a lot of fans think.
Oh, yeah. No, I think it's a little overhyped. Cause
the offense is going to be pretty, I think it's going to be a very bad offense. I think they're going to be in the bottom 10, maybe. You have a 31 and a 35-year-old running back, or 36-year-old running back, I think, in Frank Gore.
Dude, Christian Wade, though.
Christian
Wade, rugby star.
Second and third string guys.
Yeah, whatever, dude.
Yeah, I mean, he can
break some tackles.
I mean, we've seen crazier things happen. I mean, look at Fred Jackson's whole backstory, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, if sometimes guys can just stick his ball out, and that's just the way it is, and they stick around for a while.
Their running backs are pretty weird though, because they got Frank Gore, T.J. Yedlin, McCoy, so that's 3, and then they got Christian Wade. They have that Singletary guy. Yeah. So Yedlin's probably gone, I would assume.
Yeah, I think saying he's going to get cut.
It's probably between Wade and
my roommates.
What was that, sorry?
And I'm just not sure where offense is going to be coming from.
Oh yeah, Josh Allen running. That's pretty much going to be it. Him not throwing the ball at all.
Which people know now, though. That was the thing that wasn't part of his game in college.
Yeah.
So no one saw it coming.
Yeah, it's true. You have a full off season to just study everything.
Yeah, and now people are like, oh, that's what Josh Allen is. He's a guy that runs.
Yeah.
So you're gonna plan around that. So.
Or what'd you call him? A non-passing Cam Newton or something? Or...
I didn't call him that.
Oh, okay.
I would never compare him to Cam Newton.
He's got the size of Cam Newton. That's
I think people are saying that because Sean McDermott was with the Panthers, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, maybe.
But I'm well, he was a defense guy, but okay, sure. Yeah, I mean, he's
no, I think it's the 6'6".
It's one of those things where these younger quarterbacks, especially, maybe even starting with Cam Newton when he was in college, is they can just do everything. You're just seeing so many quarterbacks who are just bigger, stronger, even taller than they already were, and they just run around. They're just all-around athletes.
Yeah.
And I think Josh Allen's just kind of in that mold. I think he's just a part of the new normal, physically at least.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's just kind of ridiculous to compare him to Cam, because it doesn't mean that he's Cam at all.
Oh, no, not at all. It's basically if Cam Newton couldn't throw, and
maybe
he'd run. Because he could run like Cam. Josh Allen had more rushing yards than any running back.
Cam Newton rushed for 1,000 yards one year?
Probably.
I think he did, right?
Yeah.
He definitely did.
Yeah. I think
so.
Allen had 800 last year, and he didn't play all season.
Yeah.
He had some more games. So, maybe he could break 1,000.
We'll see. I mean, but I don't know. I just don't think
Oh, he could probably get hurt.
It's like a 7-9, 8-8 type of year for them, and that's obviously not. I wouldn't consider that an improvement.
I'd say like 6-10, honestly. Like,
really?
I don't think they'll do great. Yeah. Well, because I don't. You're right. Like, their signings aren't that great. Like, why would you take two slot guys and put them outside? And like Cole Beasley, what has Cole Beasley done the past like 3 years? Like, and then like you said, like John Brown was a third option on their team, so they're gonna have to throw to like Foster again, which like kind of worked, but and then like you said, Allen's completion percentages are so low, like he has no like mid game, like the 7 to 14 yard pass, he just can't do that. So he's just gonna have to.
Well, I think like he's shown like he's gonna get better at it. I think if you're gonna take anything out of the preseason, I feel like that's a lot of what I was seeing him throw. And I asked you twice, and I think you talked over me.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
If you were going to try to go to a game this year, or are they not worth it?
I don't know. It does sound fun.
Yeah,
those games are always good.
You might see someone go to the table.
That's true.
It's always.
I gotta look at the schedule. Maybe when I'm. Oh, nah, that sounds bad. I was like, maybe like a Christmas game.
Oh no, I would never go to that. Yeah. I'm for sure. I mean, I'm not going to get to go to any games this year. There's no Raiders-Bills game. They're not anywhere near here. It sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks a lot.
But what about October games? Hold on, I got to look at their actual schedule. But, I mean, I haven't gone to a game in like 3 years.
September's the best because it's like warm.
Yeah.
And, like, the hope is not distinguished yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Or extinguished.
Oh, Bills-Pats, 9/20, or September 29.
Oh, yeah. A big week 4 test. There it is.
Dude, okay, so they play the Jets. Okay.
That
so they play the Jets, the Giants, and then the home opener against the Bengals. They could go 3-0. They could go 3-0 starting the season and go into that Pats game. Do you know how hyped Bills fans will be?
They're going to be 2-1 going into the Pats game, I think.
Probably. No, I think they could be. They could maybe lose to the Jets.
I don't think. I mean, they could, sure. I mean, it's you don't know anything. I mean, with the Jets, they have a lot of variables too. The thing is that they have Le'Veon.
Well, Darnold should improve.
The Bills just have. Yeah, but they have a tough defense too. The Bills, so it'd be. I mean, I'll honestly be watching that game instead of Red Zone when that's on because I think that'll be very fascinating to see. I think the Giants should be an easy win. Presumably, especially considering that they're just going to be staying in, they're going right back to New York City. Very weird schedules to start. They don't leave.
Wait, the Giants don't leave New York City?
No, the Bills. The Bills are going at Jets, at Giants.
Oh, yeah.
And then, they don't have to really go outside the state. I know it's in New Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
Until,
for
October 6th.
The whole month.
So, there is a schedule dynamic, too. You got to face the Pats as usual, but, the fact that you're not really even leaving the time zone. You're not leaving within a few 100-mile radius for a month. It's huge for them. That can add a whole winter too.
So they don't even go west until they play. No, the Broncos is home. So they don't. The most west they go is the Cowboys.
They don't go west at all. Yeah, it's Thanksgiving, which is still Central Time Zone.
Oh, is that Thanksgiving?
They have.
Oh very shit!
Yeah.
Oh fuck! Let's go.
It's cool. I think the last time was like in '96 or something. They said or '95.
Oh, that's fun. That's great.
Long time ago, yeah.
Get it.
That's their only
They'll probably get
national
killed,
game.
Yeah.
All the rest of the games, dude. Sunday one.
Oh yeah. Well, all right. Okay, so outside of Buffalo or like Western New York, who wants to watch the Bills?
I know, dude.
No one gives a shit. So.
I don't know. Thanksgiving's awesome though, even though it's like kind of hard to like fully pay attention, which always kind of sucks.
Yeah. Random question though. So now with the whole NBA, with like the 5-game Christmas Day, what's better, like Thanksgiving with the NFL or like Christmas with?
No, it's
basketball?
still Thanksgiving because,
really?
At least to me, because like Thanksgiving, it's great, it's Thanksgiving, but
true,
it's one of the lamer holidays for me personally.
Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
What? No, it's not. It's great food.
No, dude, it's great because all holidays are great. Like I honestly like Halloween better than Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But like with Christmas, I just feel like there's so much more going on, and also the stakes aren't as high in a December NBA game as well.
Yeah, but that's like when the season starts. Like that's when you're like
you're
getting into it.
Say, like, for casual people and stuff. Even though it's going on for like 2 months at that point, like
true.
You almost have teams that are like out of the playoff hunt, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the Knicks were last year at that point, and even then.
Well, yeah, because they're the Knicks.
I think it's just not even close. Because also, like, Thanksgiving is like in the NFL is like kind of the start of like the playoff push. That's always the weekend when they start popping up all of the playoff
in the hunt.
In the hunt, still alive. You know, I love those. I love when they always put the Bills. You can always count on like first week of December. It's still alive. It just shows the Bills
4-8. The Bills
like 5-8. Yeah.
They can still do it. It's mathematically possible. Like
it's like an annual tradition in December 3rd.
And then they lose and they're done. And,
they get a big win, gets everyone pumped like that Colts game in the snow.
Oh yeah,
but they did make the playoffs that year.
They did, yeah. They made it. That was the Tyler Boyd 4th and 14.
Yep. Yeah, like one of those like later season wins that kind of keeps people around for a while, and then there's just like a fucking truck just running them over. You know, like the Patriots or someone else, some other juggernaut team that they have to face.
Yeah. Well, they won't beat the Pats. I don't think at all.
No. I mean, maybe week 16 because that's might have another first round bye.
Yeah.
So that's pretty fortunate that they get to hold off and deep into December. I mean, it's basically a couple days before Christmas they're facing them.
Yeah. No, that's definitely fortunate.
It's honestly, I mean, I'm looking at this. I mean, this is a very, very. This might be the. Without completely uneducated opinion, but this is probably the easiest schedule in the league.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So, actually at work, so we went like to a bunch of breweries, and I got like kind of turned, and one of them was a Pats fan, and I was like, this was last year when they were about to play the Chargers, and I was like so hyped that the Chargers were just gonna beat the Pats, and I was just shitting on this dude the whole time, and then of course the Pats just destroyed them, and they had like no shot. But in that process, I was like, I bet him $50 that the Bills will go 6-10. Like, so if they win at least 6 games, then I get $50. So I'm
for this year.
Yeah, for this year. And the schedule, because I went through the schedule, I was like
6 or more.
Yeah. Like they could beat the Giants, they could beat the Bengals.
I think pretty much everybody is saying that they'd be at least that good.
Yeah.
Because of the defense.
Yeah. They're very true. Yeah. Not anything.
It'll keep them around. It can, they can steal some. They can. I mean, with the schedule plus, that late Patriots game, that's a win you can kind of steal because it's not really, it might not really be them. I can't imagine the Patriots will be trying too hard during that game.
Yeah.
And just all of these teams that are like, even the ones that can give them a test are just ones that they're all at home. It looks like you look at the schedule, it feels like they have 12 home games.
Well, I mean, yeah, right. The 2 New York teams, and then
I mean, they have one. They got to go at. The thing is, the at Steelers and at Patriots trip. I mean, I think the Steelers will probably be fighting for their lives in that one, so I think that's probably a loss. But the Patriots are probably checked out. I mean, we've seen seasons before where they finally get a win against the Pats, and then you really look at it, and it's like, like everyone was benched. Like
yeah.
I feel like 2 of the last 4 wins they've had in the last 15 years against them have been like that.
Yeah.
And the other 2 were like legit.
What was it like? I think it was 2017 when they made the playoffs. They beat them because like Brady was serving the suspension, then Jimmy Garoppolo was hurt, and then was it Brissett?
So the year they made the playoffs.
Yeah, Brissett was playing with a broken thumb.
Yeah.
The Bills won like 30-14 because.
Nice.
They just didn't have a quarterback to do
that.
That
was the year they made it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hey, it's the
that
one.
Makes all the difference. Like that's a win that they wouldn't have had otherwise. That's part of why they got in. It finally fell their way.
Yeah.
Like and then they end it with the home game against the Jets. So
and it was pretty lucky.
A game that decides, a wild card spot or probably nothing. I don't know.
I mean, they can go 9. They've gone 9-7 before and just did not make the playoffs. So
yeah, well, this was because where did they go last year? Like 6-10, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that was their first losing season in like 4 years, I think.
Wait, no, they didn't go. Did they go 6-10? I thought they went like 4-12.
Maybe 5-11, 6-10, but it was a losing season.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I mean, and again, people forget though because like they don't really do anything with it, but they've had at least 8 wins, even dating back to Rex Ryan's years, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not really a team that's like ever fallen too much. I think they've had some pretty solid defense. I mean, especially now. I mean, their defense is what just constantly keeps them in that kind of holding pattern those last 2 or 3 weeks of the year where, you feel like they're in it. It looks like things are going their way and just something goes wrong. That game against the Steelers is something I could see them kind of blowing, especially because it's in Pittsburgh. Yeah. And then, home game against the Jets, with the Jets team that's probably going to be fighting for something at that point.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're talking about the last game, right?
Yeah, that's the very last game.
Yeah.
I think the safest thing to think with them is just 8-8.
Yeah.
This is 8-8 shit.
8-8, yeah.
Well, combine the offense with, the good defense and the easy schedule, and it just really feels that way. Like everything counterbalances.
Right, they probably lose to the Ravens, they probably lose to the Steelers. Like Cowboys, I would think. The Browns. And the Eagles.
I bet they sweep the Dolphins, I think.
Yeah. There. And they probably split with the Jets.
I think they'll... Honestly, I just feel like they'll win, most of their home games. I feel like they'll be a really dominant home team just based off this.
Well, I think the Eagles could go in.
Yeah, but
I guess that's the one game.
Dolphins, Redskins, Broncos, all win.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Those are teams you should beat if you want to be a
They could go 7-1.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or maybe 6-2. Because that Pats game they'll probably.
Oh,
first Pats game they'll lose.
That one is just that's going to be one of those ones though that is super close and everyone thinks if
we almost got him.
If we would have, it didn't do this.
Yeah. Josh Allen threw 3 picks, if he didn't throw one more.
Well, if it wasn't the refs or something.
Yeah.
I would love to still see a Nate Peterman apologist out in the wild. There's this weird dynamic with that going on where all the dumbest people I knew were all clamoring to keep Nate Peterman in.
Oh my God.
That one year.
That was terrible. He should have never played that Chargers game. And it basically ruined his career.
It was one of the weirdest dynamics I've seen in local sports, honestly, seeing the weird kind of cross-section of people that kind of really wanted Peterman. It was so weird. I was like, what do you... I want to know, what your how your mind operates.
Are you talking about, last year or the year before?
There were holdouts last year, but also the year before.
Yeah.
People who, really... I understand, you want the guy who's playing for you to succeed, but...
I mean, Tyrod's slightly frustrating because I get he just plays the safe passes and he throws for 150 yards and why don't we try someone else that might throw more. But when he throws 5 picks, you should be done. He should be a third string quarterback at that point. And
Tyrod's thing was that they were going to owe him a good amount of money too.
Well, yeah. Very true.
Again, but even though he's not super great, but because he's a quarterback, he's going to have a lot of cap space, and he's someone who's, was getting to be, a 30-plus-year-old guy. So, I don't blame them for letting him go. I mean, the thing was, I just feel like they drafted the wrong guy.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe Josh Rosen won't even end up being better, but I just feel like, there were other things they could have done. And, it's just, but they got to ride with this guy now. People are excited about him. He's definitely a better, I'm not saying much, but a better QB prospect than any that they've probably had in a long time. I mean, I can't remember the last time they've actually drafted a quarterback that high. I mean, probably not since Kelly.
Yeah, I would think so.
So, I mean, it is a unique dynamic for them, for their fans, to have a guy this young drafted this high, who's not treated as, we're not supposed to be treated at least as an afterthought.
Yeah. But I mean, when you look at his stats, it's just so bad. And I guess he's a rookie and he has no one on his team. You can easily justify that. But
I mean, he didn't have a lot of options, but also, I mean, it was the O-line too, which again goes back to what we were saying earlier. It just didn't improve enough. I think that's going to be the real breaking point for what really makes this offense a bad offense into at least a decent one that can really supplement what I think is going to be a very good defense.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be, I think it's going to be a bad offense to the point where kind of detracts from what the defense is going to be able to do. Which is why instead of being a playoff team, you get a team a losing record or 500.
Yeah. Well, that's like a pretty standard for Bills. I mean, so you got Edmonds at linebacker who should improve. Like Trey White is amazing corner. Micah Hyde had like a resurgent.
They have one of the best safety tandems in the league.
Yeah.
If not the best.
And then Ed Oliver, like, pretty sure he's doing work.
Yeah. We don't really know. Yeah, I mean, he's probably going to be good. I don't know. We don't really know. Again, that's a rookie. I always hate name dropping rookies when you try to sell your case for a team.
That's true.
Because again, even if he is great, the rookie at Oliver is probably not going to be that great right away. So you're not going to be getting an immediate impact on him, even if all of your wildest dreams come true about how good he can be.
Yeah.
So, you know, but yeah, I mean, again, there's just so many other weapons. I think that, you know, it'll at least give him a much better chance of growing because not everyone's going to be on him. Yeah. It's not like, you know, we were talking about the Raiders earlier. It's not like with a guy like Maurice Hurst, who's on their, you know, who was a rookie last year, defensive tackle. Everyone's focusing on him because he's the only guy with any impact, and he's still got 4 sacks at the tackle position, not even going along the edge.
Well,
so Ed Oliver won't have to deal with that kind of pressure. He's going to be a lot more free than someone like Maurice Hurst was in his rookie tackle season. Because you have like Jerry Hughes coming off the edge. You have guys doing all kinds of things, athletic backfields that can do a lot of things, that can blitz you themselves if they want to. So I think like it'll just be a lot more open for him. Whether that means he gets a ton of sacks, I mean, I don't think so right away, but he'll be able to learn with having it blow up in his face.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like on the Raiders side too, like Farrell will help kind of open that lineup too.
I hope so. There's nowhere to go but up with how bad they were on the D-line.
Yeah.
So they will be better. It's going to look better. I feel like it's almost guaranteed to be the case. And you've seen some visible improvement, especially in the Cardinals game where Arden Key stood out a lot. He was kind of dominating, really. I mean, he was part of a first team that really shut out the Cardinals' first team. Mm-hmm. So that's encouraging. I mean, it's his second year. I mean, you expect them to get better. The thing is, he was thrust into a bad situation last year because after Khalil Mack was traded, you know, he was forced to play a lot more than he probably should have been because he was always viewed as like he was a second rounder, I believe, second or third rounder, and he was like this project. He was one of these guys that's viewed with huge talent ceiling, not great mechanics yet. Yeah. So he is figuring out a lot more, I think, how to get inside people. He's figuring out a lot more how to get maintain a straight line while getting pushed over. You know, it's kind of like, you know, the key physical skill for a defensive end. And, you know, he's doing it more at least in preseason games. And those are skills, like mechanical skills. And those are the things that tend to carry over from the preseason, right? Not necessarily like explosive plays and stuff, because explosive plays are more frequent when you're facing vanilla defenses.
Yeah.
So the little things like that are the things that carry over, because that means he's going to be doing that more and more, maybe if not every time. As far as, you know, the way he moves and the way he just doesn't look as stiff as he did last year. He looked like someone who had a lot of size and speed, but didn't know like what to do with it or where to put it.
Yeah.
And I think at least he'll be better, and I think that'll at least elevate what the interior line can do.
Yeah. Well, I think you kind of hit it on the nose at the beginning when, they traded Mack. You didn't foresee that when you drafted, Key at all.
Yeah. It was expected that, Key will be able to learn from him, and he'll be able to, you know, he'll get some more sacks of his own. You know, he wasn't expected to even really start, and if he was going to start, he was going to be kind of coming in and out of the game situationally a lot. Yeah. So was just thrust in this position that a guy who was a non-first rounder sort of project pick, he shouldn't have been in. He's going to be getting double teamed a lot. He's not going to be able to learn when there's established offensive line vets who are in his face knowing exactly how to shut him down. So, you know, he might still be dealing with that a little bit, because if Clay doesn't come out there and immediately start being a missile himself, which was what they called him in college, then that pressure will still be on Key, it'll still be on Hurst, and you're not going to really see a lot of push. But I think just the increase in talent alone, though, you'd think they'll at least get 20 sacks this year as a team instead of 13.
Yeah.
Good improvement. That'll still be last place in the league, but
7 more.
Khalil Mack almost had as many sacks as the Raiders whole team last year. He had half a sack last year. That's the stat of the year for that D-line.
Yeah.
That's what they should be thinking about every single day, I hope.
How many sacks Khalil Mack? They should have a board.
Well, apparently they actually yell out, whenever someone has, a bad play or something, or just as a source of motivation, that they'll yell out to each other, 13. That's what they've been doing at practice to say, we had 13 sacks last night.
Oh, yeah.
We were shit, remember that. We were embarrassing. Because I think the second last place team, the Giants, had 30 sacks.
Jesus Christ.
So they had less than half of the second last place team.
Yeah. Well, that's, you don't get a sack a game. You get less than one.
Yeah, they have entire games. They had entire games they were just shut out. They had, even for their offense, they had entire stretches where they were just locked out of the end.
That's crazy.
It was really, watching, it's honestly unbelievable they got 4 wins. It just shows you that in that league, if you just have a guy, not that I think Carr necessarily carried them through all that, even though he had a deceptively good season.
Yeah.
That just shows the value of why, someone like Dak Prescott or any other, kind of perceivably average quarterback still gets, this franchise money. Because just having that guy there who just knows the offense and can get guys through stuff, you could just shit your pants and just fall backwards, and just completely be a mess, and you'll still get 4 or 5 wins.
Well, even go back to the Bills. How did they go 6-10 last year? They were not supposed to be good at all.
Well, it was their defense too.
Their
defense
that too.
Was worth that much.
Yeah, but I feel with the NFL, a lot of these teams are kind of close. These bad teams are close, so you can easily... And then, even when they play, a good team, you can just get lucky or something. And
yeah, there's also a home game. Sometimes if you're fortunate to get a good team, just at home, in, just an environment that's friendly to you. Just sometimes, or if they're a good team that's from very far away, especially West Coast going to East Coast, you just get those little games like that where it's that day, they're just a better team. They're just there. They're not sleepy.
Yeah.
You still guys that are on a body clock that tells them that it's 10 a.m. at that time instead of 1 p.m.
Yeah.
So, being on the East Coast, too, you do have that little bit of an advantage. It might be overstated how much it is, but, as a Raiders fan, I remember they went 7 years without winning in Eastern time zone games.
Solid. That's a good schedule.
7 years. And I saw it in person in Cleveland when they finally broke the streak in 2015 in Charles Woodson.
That's crazy. I don't know how you do that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember.
It was, it was absolutely terrible. So I've seen firsthand, how bad it can get with teams going East Coast. They're just different. Everything's slower for them.
Well, I feel going the other way, too, is not great, East to West.
No, but, you're just, for something, when you're doing something so physical, and you have to be so much on the top of, your game, I think it being later, they're still kind of on their time, almost, you know what I mean? Having more time to prepare is never really something that's gonna...
yeah.
Unless it's, super late. If they're on a clock where it's,
if they play at 4 o'clock...
4 a.m. or something. I don't know, something ridiculous like that. And you don't give yourself enough, a week or two to prepare, then, that's, I guess, at that extreme. But I think, at 3 hours, the advantage is totally still for the East Coast team. It's just not the same. You see it across sports, too. The Yankees have a West Coast road trip coming up this week, and... there's never really, besides the fact that they're a good team, there's never really a concern that, they're going to be off their game out there. Sometimes it makes good things happen being out there.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times you see, East Coast teams go to West Coast, and, they play better than they normally do.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got it. Sometimes you want to just get away, where the only people you're really hanging out with are people on your team, and you're communicating with them, you grow, you get better bonds with them, and also the fact that, in your body clock, you do have more time to prepare than you're used to.
But you'd have less time going east to west, though, because you'd be waking up later or earlier.
Well, I mean, it's still right, but I mean, like, it's still more to prepare. Like, you are still like in your old self. You know what I mean? Like, you aren't really behind.
Yeah.
As the other way, like, you'd rather have it be a 4 o'clock type of time.
Yeah. That's true. Anyways, let's. Do you want to just go in the Yankees now and run it, or here? Let's do that Roc Nation and Jay-Z thing.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot that was on the list.
Super weird. That was just like a little blend. No, I put it at the end. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's just like a guy trying to make money. Like, that's what Jay-Z's doing, obviously.
Yeah.
It kind of it just has this thing I think people are finally catching on to, of like, the woke capitalism thing, kind of commodifying struggle, like Colin Kaepernick and what his message is trying to be. Also, what he kind of did himself by signing with Nike.
Yeah.
But then you just see, I think all Roc Nation's doing is kind of like a progression of that.
Well, yeah, they definitely want the money, but it's just like a weird, like turnaround, I guess, because like before they weren't they?
Well, he didn't play the Super Bowl. Was where, a lot of this started. He was one of the, I don't know for sure who the other ones were, but there was other major artists who refused to play the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was like I think it was like Cardi B
because of what they've done to Colin Kaepernick, because of their anti-kneeling rules. So like that's where it started, and then he turns around and says like, not only will I not, well, I don't know, maybe he still wouldn't perform. I mean, who knows? But he's now helping them make more money.
Yeah. Well, I think
like the whole reason they're in a partnership is because it'll be mutually beneficial. So like they're both making each other wealthier, and it's very, it's not really upsetting to me because it's just what I expect.
Oh, true.
I expect
you just have that negative aspect.
Yeah.
Of it, yeah. It's just such a cop out for Jay-Z, and I feel like it's just the NFL gets such a better deal because I feel like Jay-Z could do something else and make.
He could do anything. Well, I don't know, except make a streaming service. That didn't work out.
That one thing, yeah.
But I mean, like, some people, they just always kind of want more. I mean, he's at I think the one non-rap thing that he's been successful at, really, I mean, unequivocally, is his agency, Roc Nation.
Oh yeah. Of course.
I mean, they have all the guys, like, they've had staying power. I remember when they first came up, and they kind of made immediate splashes. They signed guys like Robinson Cano and, other some big boxing names, Miguel Cotto, back when he was in his prime.
Yeah. And,
it was, people were like, oh, well, they're making a splash and they'll go away because it's all so well established. But, they managed to stick around 6, 7 years, 8 years later. They've managed to stick around, and they have stars. They have so many now that you don't know who's with them anymore. Because before, you knew who the Roc Nation guys were, because there were only a few of them. Mm. But now it's like so widespread that like it's like, oh, Kyrie Irving's with them, I guess, or Kevin Durant or something, right? And so you can kind of see.
Well, Kevin Durant's not with Roc Nation, right? He's got his own, dude.
He might be with his own thing, yeah. But Kyrie, I think, is.
Kyrie definitely. That's like when they were saying he's going to go to the Nets is when he signed with Roc Nation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly, because they own the Nets partially still.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, why Jay-Z? Why'd you have to do it like that? I don't know.
Because he just, he knows what button to press, the money making button. Yeah. He just kind of knows like, oh, here's an opportunity here. Like he just knows how to see that kind of shit. And he's already been so involved in sports, and because it's him, because it's. He can spin it as kind of like this, like, oh, actually, it's good that I'm doing this. I'm going to reform them from the inside.
Yo, because that always works.
Trust me, guys. And then I'll go count his money.
Yeah. Well, he's always said he wanted to be like a $1 billion rapper or whatever that. Like he wants to have $1 billion net worth.
Like, this isn't out of line with anything that he's been doing for any of his career. Whether someone likes it or not. So I mean, his music's good.
Was good.
Yeah, I never really had a problem with him, but it does suck to see someone do that and further kind of delegitimize. Because then the opponents of like, people were not only opponents of like whatever Kaepernick was trying to say, but people were opponents of discussing it at all.
Yeah.
All they got to do is like just point to Colin and Jay-Z and like, oh, look, see, this is all just to make money.
Oh yeah.
You know, then it delegitimizes the actual point, the actual argument. So it does go beyond just like, you know, the cynical attempt to profit from all this too. It's also like you're actually you're setting things back.
Yeah, when you actually make because what that deal for Kaepernick was 40 to 80 million or something.
It was a lot, yeah. Especially since like, oh, now you don't have to play football and you get to like make something around, but he probably would still be making because he was a backup as it was.
Yeah.
So, you know, if anything, he probably made more money off of it. You know,
I feel like he could have started somewhere. I mean, his last year he had 16 touchdowns, 4 picks.
That anyone was going to give a franchise type deal to.
Oh no.
And that's what it would take to make more than what this Nike deal is paying him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Well, no, it's not. It's not the Nike deal. It's the NFL, like, deal that they gave him for.
Or the settlement too.
Settlement, yeah. The settlement was huge. Nike was like, I don't know how much that was, but.
It was so much.
Oh really?
I mean, it was 20 million. Nothing. Yeah, I look right now. Colin Kaepernick. Let's see how much the price. I thought it was like it wasn't like 100 million, but it was initially 10 million, but it ended up being less.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it was millions of dollars at least.
Yeah.
It says Kaepernick and Reed each received less than 10 million total.
But that's from, I mean, like a Nike deal like that for NFL players, I think is pretty high. Like normally that's like.
Oh yeah, that was way bigger than what the settlement was.
Yeah.
That's where like a lot of what he's making from. Which is weird, because I feel like I don't really see him. Like I feel like he's not very visible anymore.
Yeah, it kind of went away. I don't know. I felt like
I feel like the whole point of that Nike deal was to make him very visible and sell shit.
Well, right, like so he had that ad and it was kind of big for a couple months, and I felt like Nike kind of went on the U.S. women's national team and they started doing that, and now it's kind of
they probably just changed campaigns, I guess.
Yeah, but like same message, I don't know.
But like the thing is, I feel like with someone like him, like unless he actually goes and like. Has a lot of very public actions, like someone like he himself keeps himself in the spotlight. Like I feel like if they decide to return to him for something, like for a campaign, people start to be like, "Wait a minute, who was that again?"
Yeah,
was the guy a few years ago?
Can he still play? Out? He's like 40.
What?
He could probably still start.
From the 10s that everyone got mad for.
Yeah,
that's what he'll be, you know, unless he goes into like politics or something, or something that keeps his name out there.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I think he's just big on his foundation and just giving that money to.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely doing a lot. It seems like, but yeah, I mean, it's all under the radar stuff.
Yeah,
it's not stuff that's going to keep him famous and keep, make that deal make sense. It just didn't. Even when it happened, even with the ad campaign and stuff, I was like, where else are they going to go with this? Are they just going to keep like? Are they gonna pay this man tens of millions of dollars just to like keep pissing people off?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know it works. Like, their sales went up from it.
Yeah.
But like, is it really like? There's other ways to sell it. Like, I mean, I like what they did, but like, it just didn't seem like a long-term plan for me.
No, it's definitely just a
like you can't have like a multiple-year campaign of like pissing people off. Like, if you're gonna piss, even if it's the right people you're pissing off. Like, if you're going to do that, like, it's got to be, like, one time, and then maybe another time a couple years later.
Yeah. But I don't know, I feel like if you're, like, that edgy company, but not really edgy, like, people dig that.
Like Nike.
Yeah, exactly.
Or, like, any tech company.
Yeah, exactly. But, yeah. So you want to talk Yankees, or... Yeah, let's just finish off the Yankees. We can kind of ignore the FIBA, but...
I think they're really at the top of their game. I'm not really. I think Marcus Timms doesn't get enough credit. Like he's their hitting coach. I think I really haven't heard his name mentioned at all. In fact, which is very weird because you'd think like Aaron Boone was a manager last year. They didn't play like this last year, and Marcus Timms is here this year. And no matter who they get to hit, no matter who's up to bat or who's hurt. They keep hitting, and they have guys that really have spent years. Like Gio Urshela has spent. He's not a young guy. He's been in the league for a few years, maybe 5 years, and he hasn't shown an offense like this.
Yeah.
Luke Voigt hasn't shown an offense like this. I mean, he did a little bit last year, but it just seems like all of these guys, even the guys that already were sort of good, have just solidified themselves so much under him. So I think, I don't know, I would like to see someone write a deeper look at that, and maybe, as far as I just haven't seen anything about how Marcus Thames has really turned this offense into something that's just this constantly just grinding machine. But the pitching's frustrating because they weren't able to get him with the deadline. It sounded like people were asking for too much. There was a rumor, I'm not sure if it's true, or a report that the Blue Jays were asking for Gleyber Torres for Marcus Stroman straight up. Something like that.
Give that up. Yeah.
I think that was from Brian Hawk, but he was the only one reporting it, so I don't know how true it was.
Yeah.
Just other stuff too that so I don't blame him for not getting it. I know you have Severino coming back, and you just kind of hope Paxton figures it out. That Tanaka is his playoff self again. He has a great track record in the playoffs. I think people are underrating him a little bit on that. I mean, that Severino comes back too, and one, stops tipping his pitches, which was a big problem last year. And two, it seems like he's been pain free. He's thrown off a mound for the first time as of a week or so ago, or 2 weeks ago. His stuff is more explosive than he thought it would be, than what the coaches thought it would be. He's no pain at all. And probably within a week, probably by next weekend, he'll be in single or double A. So he will be back soon. So, it's tough to say that they'll beat a team like the Astros, though. I mean, that's really where the conversation ends with the Yankees is, how are you going to get through Garrett Cole, Zach Greinke, and Justin Verlander, who's probably going to win another Cy Young. It's a buzzsaw, and it's unclear that their offense can somehow overcome that with the way their pitching has been. Because the Astros have the offense, too, to really just brutalize the Yankees.
Yeah. Yeah, they're more balanced, I guess.
Yeah, well, not only balanced, but they're just absolute. I mean, they have the 3 best starters in the AL right now are in their rotation. It's absolutely insane. It's exactly what you want going to the playoffs. Experienced guys who have been there and who have accomplished everything at a team and individual level. I mean, Garrett Cole, I don't think has. I think he was still on the Pirates. But, I mean, I don't have any doubt about his ability to perform. I mean, he's the strikeout leader right now. Yeah. So it's really the Yankees have to be underdogs going into that.
Yeah. Well, it's just, especially with the playoffs, it just tightens up, and they could have those 3 pitchers and then just insert, one more for that, Game 4, and then go 5, 6, 7.
Too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because they have a deeper rotation even than those 3, so... And the Yankees don't. Who are they going to throw out there? J. Happ. CC, who is completely fallen off.
Yeah.
CC is not really, able to perform anymore. It's starting to look like, right? I mean, he just came back from his 3rd injury of the year. And he's just got absolutely rocked last night, or on Sunday night, or Sunday afternoon. Sorry. So he's been absolutely just even worse than what people thought he was going to be. And people already expected, he's 39. You're not going to, expect the world out of him, but you want him to at least try to stay around a high 3 ERA. But he looks like he doesn't belong in the league right now, and it's really, really hurting them.
Yeah. So you're thinking they just can't beat the Astros when it comes down to it? Or?
I mean, no. There's no. I mean, not that they can't, but it's not impossible. It wouldn't blow my mind, but it's just not something. I think if you're going to be, I mean, I'm not a neutral observer, obviously, but if you are one, there's just no way you can sit there and say the Yankees are going to beat the Astros, unless you're just making a bet and trying to, beat the spread or something, Or
just make more money. Just to
so anything like that. That's the only incentive you'd have to ever say that. So
it's kind of crazy that the Yankees would be underdogs when they have the better.
Well, they didn't make a lot of big moves in the offseason. Just like they didn't make really any big moves at the trade deadline. This is not a team that really like makes all these like. Besides, I mean, there's a Stanton trade, but he's played like you can count on your fingers. I think how many games he's played this year. But like 8 or 9 maybe.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, this isn't a team that's like this stacked juggernaut of stars. You know, they're stars now because they performed, but they didn't perform until they got there, or they were guys who were developed by the Yankees, like Sanchez and Judge, or Severino.
Yeah.
So it's a different feel. So I think why people, at least from my perception, seem to at least hate them less recently. It's just because the team, they're just so undeniable. You know, like there aren't really the kind of Yankee guys that there's no A-Rod, there's no villain.
Yeah.
And I think it's very similar with the Red Sox too. I feel like, again, I'm biased, but I feel like they have a little bit more characters like that still. People like David Price, who's had his issues. So I think, you know,
you can't hate like
I think people can look
or
at the Yankees now and see like, you know, the relative youth that they have and still be like, oh yeah, they could be underdogs.
Yeah.
You know, they can do it. They don't even have the highest payroll anymore. You know, they're kind of, you know, top 5 or somewhere in top 10 range.
Well, it's kind of weird though because they have like their pitchers. I feel like are pretty big names. You know, with like Chapman and CC and who's the other one?
Well, CC's 39 years old.
Yeah, but like I mean, it's just like more like the name. I guess.
Yeah, the bullpen's been good too. I mean, their bullpen's definitely much more stacked than the rotation is as far as like talent. You have guys who are like all-star closers who are, you know, set-up men for them. And I think that's the Yankees have always placed at least under Cashman, have placed a very, very high priority on making sure almost above all else it seems like, that they have a really stacked bullpen.
Yeah.
Which is smart because it's not really that hard to get a really stacked bullpen, right? Like, they're not like the most expensive guys in the world, even the best ones. And it's also, there's a market now where it's not really like, no one's breaking the bank for closers, so you don't have to.
Yeah.
No one else is doing it, then you don't have to pay them it. So it's just kind of like, I think that's been one of the things that's really stabilized them this year. In a lot of other years, I think that gets more credit. But I think because of the way they battled injuries in the lineup and all the offense that's still been generated, that's overshadowed a bullpen which by the way, it itself has been injured. Betances still hasn't thrown a pitch all year. A bullpen that's really like held things together. They even started using the opener the way the Rays had. They started, you know, adapting that whole thing, which is starting to falter a little bit. Chad Green in his most recent game immediately got rocked. So it's starting to show that it's not really a plan that might work in the playoffs. Yeah. So I think it's just more important, really, that, you know, someone like Paxton just figures things out. He hasn't been terrible. He's shown he can figure it out. He's had his good games. And that Tanaka's, you know, still what he can do in the playoffs. He still has like a big game capacity. He's got a great history in the playoffs. So it's a lot of hope, and I don't think hope is something to really bet on.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know, this year's been pretty fun. Like,
it's been
compared
awesome.
to, you know, the past.
It just sucks that the Astros got such a concentrated level of talent.
Well, they've just been relevant for longer. They just know how to work October, too.
Yeah, they've been around. Someone like Verlander is just going to be so invaluable. He's just done everything at this point. I mean, I think he's 36 now, and he's going to win like his at least 3rd or 4th Cy Young.
Yeah, it's incredible.
He's still up there in strikeouts. So, I mean, just a guy like that just really, I think, just kind of elevates everyone around him, you know. Garrett Cole was already good. He elevated himself, elevated Charlie Morton when he was there, who went to the Rays and kept producing. It's just, you know, I think it's very clear that the Astros will probably win the AL. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah. All right. Any other Yankees thing you want to wrap up?
No, it's a long season. Still a lot left. Who knows what can happen?
I mean, they're what, 10 games up or something?
Like 9.5. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, they should. I mean, they should definitely win the East.
They're going to win the East. Yeah. I don't see like the team like the Indians or the Twins or the A's beating them, or the Rays if it comes to it in ALDS. So, It really is just, it's all about the Astros for them.
Yeah.
That's really what the main, which, you don't want to overlook anybody. But that's just really the one source of concern if you're a Yankee fan.
Yeah, that's true. All right, I think that kind of wraps up everything. Thank you for coming on, Chris. This is
a pleasure. It was such an honor.
Yeah.
I was waiting for this day.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, thank you for listening, and have a great day.
Raiders 10-6.
It's gonna happen.